Hello there guys and welcome to a very particular video which I'm actually really excited about because this is a build that I actually came up with a couple days after the rework to the traits, and I'm really proud of it. I've found plenty of success with it, and I'm going to showcase it to you guys. So let's get right into it. Let's jump right into the traits. So for starters, our weapons, right? We are going to be running Dagger Pistol with Sigil of Force. Here, I want to note that Sigil of Force isn't really necessary. I just don't feel like we're going to be critting enough. As you can probably tell, we're running 4% crit chance. So I don't think we're going to be critting enough in order for us to take both Sigil of Air and Sigil of Fire. But I still take Sigil of Fire just for the increased burst and the lucky crits, right? And then we're going to be taking Short Bow, running with Sigil of Energy for the increased endurance, just in case, we need to get away or we basically just need to run or roll somewhere faster. We're the Ogre, maximum damage, and we also get a nice Rock Dog whenever we're hit on a 90-second cooldown. And yeah, pretty basic, pretty strong. I like it. Valkyrie Amulet. Okay, let's stop for a second here because this is actually the one I want to talk about. We're not going to run Berserkers, Assassins, or Marauders. Instead, we're going to be rocking the Valkyrie Amulet, giving us maximum power out of the Ammies, a good amount of ferocity, and lots and lots of vitality. It's going to be getting us real bulky. This is the whole point of why I call it the Bruiser build, because Marauders can do fine. Don't get me wrong. If you like Marauders better, go for it. But this build isn't focused on, going in and getting a kill. This is focused more on you go into the fight, you outnumber the fight, or if it's evenly numbered, then there's a place for you to be. There's a point for you to be capping at that point. That's basically your whole mentality throughout the whole build. If you're fighting an even fight, then there's probably somewhere else you could be being more useful, or you're outnumbering the fight, in which case you're already doing a pretty good job at that fight. You're already fulfilling a good amount of the fight. You're doing a good role. So yeah, that's why we're taking Valkyrie Amulet, because you want to be in the middle of the fray. You want to be fighting. You want the enemy to make the fight even. You don't want to just insta die to some random burst and have your team be unbalanced versus the enemy. You want to be alive. You want to be up for as long as possible and stealth and get out of there and go back cap something. That's basically your mentality throughout the whole build. And I'll speak more about it once we get into the clips. So for traits, we're going to be taking critical strikes. We're going to be getting all the minors, obviously, and we're going to be choosing signets of power, which is gain might when activating a signet. If you could tell, I'm running two signets. The assassin signet is going to give us more burst on the backstab, and infiltrator signet is basically just you can replace this for anything else. I like it because it gives us the might, and I also use it to gap close into backstabs. But I mean, you can also run blinding powder for more stealth. You can run haste as well. I feel like that would do well. Signet of agility could also be a good option there. Just fit the build to your playstyle. Here, practice tolerance for the increased ferocity. It's not a good bonus because we're not running like super high precision, but we still get the base precision, which is if I remove this real quick, it is just about like the 7% damage drop. Yeah, just about 6 point something. But so I personally feel like it's worth it. It's basically saying gain 6% increased damage on backstabs. And here it is, the 100% bonus crit hit chance. This trait is our bread and butter of the build because this is our only damage output basically, but it's not a bad one. It's good. I promise you guys, stick with me. Once you see the clips, you'll see how it works. Uh, Shadow's Embrace. We're gonna be going into Shadow Arts. I really, really like this line ever since they reworked it. We're going to be cleansing conditions because there's just a bunch of Condi builds out there. We're going to be getting increased stealth as well as stealth when we revive and reduce damage while we're in stealth. So this is actually going to be a really good part of the build because most of the time we'll be in the middle of a team fight, we'll get really low, and then we'll drop a Shadow Refuge, survive just barely, and go back cap. That's mostly how we're going to be back capping or disengaging. It's going to be through stealth so that we can avoid dying, which it also helps that we're running Dagger Pistol with no trickery line. We should get some extra initiative and some extra healing. We're also going to be getting extra healing from the Acrobats line, which we'll see in a second, and we're going to be getting stealth from stealing. So in order to take advantage of all that stealth time, we are going to be running. We're going to be running in the Acrobats line Fleet Shadow, which is basically going to be making us move faster while in stealth. That's going to be really nice for sneaking up on enemies and getting to points faster, as well as just getting the backstabs off in the right place rather than being forced to, land the forward backstab because we didn't have enough time to move. As I mentioned before in the pistol video, I really prefer hard to catch over shadow step. I don't know why, but I feel like it's a great replacement because of the break stun, and then we get the refilled endurance. And if we need Condi cleanse, I probably would have taken pain response, but I'm already taking Shadow's embrace, so there's no need, right? And then finally, we're gonna be taking Assassin's Reward. We're also gonna be getting all the miners, really nice extra vigor and extra increased uh, enhancement of vigor, increased effectiveness from it, and then we're going to be getting the health every time that we use a skill that uses initiative. So that's going to be really useful with the blinding powder. As you can tell, blinding powder's healing is for 415, shadow shot's healing for 277 and such. So yeah, that's the build for our utility. We're going to be rocking Hide in the Shadows. It's going to be good for condition cleansing, as it's going to be cleansing us of burning poison, but you may also take withdrawal just in case you don't feel comfortable with the super long 30-second cooldown of Hide in the Shadows. You want to take withdraw, that's fine as well. So I got some clips prepared. The first couple of clips are in a game where I basically do a lot of backcapping and focus on objectives heavily. We end up winning that game in a comeback, and then the following game will be showing off battling and what you can do when you're in a fight with this build and how to 1v1 as well. I'll be going more into detail once we reach the clips, so let's get right into it. Alright, so as I mentioned before, these clips are going to be focused on backcapping. Here I want to show off how hard you can take the damage in a team fight and disengage into a stealth and then head right out into a backcap. Here I was taking a lot of damage from the team fight. I tried to revive an ally and I noticed I couldn't, so I ended up shadow refuging and just basically getting out of the fight. The enemy team didn't know I was doing this. It's the whole art of, going stealth and just running away. You stealth up, you get out of there, and next thing the enemy team knows, is there's two swords across the refinery. They're losing a point, and it's because of a thief. This clip in particular is one where I want to show you how you can engage in a fight and how you can disable an opponent by basically not doing anything to them. How you can disable an opponent away from a fight without having to actually kill them or CC them. Here I get owned by this NG, obviously. As you can tell, like I'm basically getting wrecked. And I end up disengaging into a stealth and backing out. This is what I'm talking about. If there is, if it's an even fight, for example, right now in the mid, I'm coming to out uneven that fight to get an advantage for my team. But if it becomes an even fight, I search for this NG. I drop a Shadow Refuge, and I wait. I see what this NG is going to go. If this NG goes into the fight, then it's an even fight, and I could be backcapping that point. If he doesn't go into the fight, then it's an uneven fight. I can get in here, I can give my team an advantage, and I can get us a couple of kills. This ultimately ends to us getting the midpoint. I don't think I show it, but we basically end up killing the enemy team because we're basically a person ahead. This NG ends up rejoining the fight, and I end up disengaging and running away because I know now that he is here. And now that he is here, I know that the refinery is basically left alone and there's nobody over there. So move my ass to the refinery, get that point, get more points for my team and less for the enemy. So here we're pretty substantially down, but I'm still pretty confident we can come back. I just need to keep doing what I was doing. Need to keep backcapping, keep disengaging, and going along with the build. Stick to the plan, basically. So I engage in a fight. I basically get into it, and I'm looking at my map, and I see the refineries getting taken by the enemy. When this happens, I drop a Shadow Refuge and I start walking over there. And I know this guy's going to get off the point. So I wait for him to get off the point and start capping it. Take it, basically a free point for my team. Easy caps, easy money. This is all about the back capping. He comes back, and I think I show off also a pretty cool little kill here. I want to show off that the build isn't just for back capping. It can also deal damage. See, these are 1k hitting regular hits. And not to mention an 8k backstab that I get on this guy, basically to down him and get a kill. So after a lot of backcapping and a lot of close fights, we end up winning this game. But on to the next clips. The next set of clips, I want to show what you can do when you fight and how to disable people, or rather pressure them during a fight, as well as picking up kills on them. During these clips, I am going to be having an encounter with this ranger. Right now I'm having this fight with this guardian, and this guardian, I know that I'm basically keeping him off the point if I just have him follow me, so that's why I stay on longbow rather than go into the fight and go into the clock tower to try and help. So I have these couple of brawls with this ranger, and he ends up beating me the first couple times. Here's one of them. In this fight, I end up panicking and he ends up bursting me really hard. I actually had a chat with him after the game. It turns out that he was running Berserker's Amulet, so if I was messing up, he was basically punishing me extremely hard. This is basically to show what happens if you panic during this type of build. If you're running this build, even though you're tanky, you can still die. You need to keep a cool-headed mind, and you need to keep on your toes, basically. But after a while, I start getting the hang of it. I feel like this is a very important point in PvPing for this game. Like, you need to be able to accept the defeat and say, okay, what can I do better next time? Because even though there are counters to some builds and some playstyles, there is always a way to make it not easy for the enemy to kill you. There's always a way to make their life miserable when trying to fight you, or just flat out win the fight. Like this ranger, I actually ended up fighting him 2 or 3 more times and I got owned. But after a while, I started picking up on his patterns, and I started picking up on what I could be doing to turn the fights in my favor. And I basically did. I just started winning fights against him. And I basically just started out playing him. I've got to admit though, I did have a really hard time fighting him at the start. Alright guys, so I think that wraps it up for this video. As always, if you've stuck with me this long, thank you so much for watching. I want to do a little touch over. I think the next video that I'm going to release is a Let's Play with Pug. It's going to be called Pug Plays, basically. And what it's going to be, it's just going to be me and the Pug Guild playing games. And I think I'm going to upload it to this channel. We were planning on doing a group channel, but honestly, I don't know what happened to that. So I think it's going to be Marvel Heroes, either that or Terraria. Look forward to it. I'm not actually too sure. So, guys, I wanted to thank you for the 1,000 views that I got on my last video. I was actually never expecting it, and I really, really enjoyed the feedback from it. I enjoyed how positive it was and how constructive you guys can be when you speak about your opinions with me. So yeah, that wraps it up. As always, if you've stuck with me this long, thank you so much for watching the video. Drop a comment, subscribe, whatever you like. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.